Hi there, my name is Will Kriske. Thanks for checking out this video. I want to talk about chord melody, jazz solo guitar. I think I've created the simplest arrangements that I could possibly create, and they're still fun and musical, but after looking on the internet and buying a lot of DVDs and arrangements and looking at YouTube and things like that, I've discovered that there's a lot of great sounding chord melody arrangements out there, and they're highly inspiring. But when you start to try to play them, if you happen to be able to get the arrangement, they're often way too difficult for the beginning jazz or intermediate jazz guitarist, because there's chords in there that are really difficult to play. There's big stretches. There's a lot of cramped chords. I've been having some hand troubles actually because I've been playing some of these arrangements and they've been very difficult. And a lot of times, I don't necessarily finish a song because it just gets frustrating, not being able to play certain chords in a tune. And chord melody is a lot of fun because you can play the chords and the melody together by yourself and really have a lot of fun. And you don't need a band. You don't have to play with anybody else. You just can play these songs by yourself. And so it was really frustrating when I discovered that after months and even years, I wasn't able to even play a song from beginning to end. Not that I didn't practice, I was putting in a ton of time, but it just, certain chords, I'd get stuck in certain arrangements. And like I said, there's some really good ones out there, but some of them have so many chords, reharmonization, there's so many extra chords in there that even if you manage to play them, it's just really difficult to memorize all those chords, and you don't really understand what was going on. So what I've done is I've taken the original chords from the standard, from the version that I found of the music. I take the chords and I'd add the melody. So I figure out places to play the melody with the chords so that you have a nice sounding arrangement, but that used basically standard jazz chords. So if you haven't played jazz before, these chords will be a little bit challenging for you. You'll have to learn these chords. But for anybody who's got the basic jazz chords that everybody learns, you won't have much of a problem to play the chords. Specifically, the other thing that's great about these arrangements is that I've put, if you look at the example here, I've got Satin Doll. If you look at that, the way I've done these arrangements is that I've got a chord diagram above the melody. So on the staff and in tab, I've got the melody note just by itself in a very simple way of notation. We'll be able to modify the rhythm that these melodies use, but I didn't want to complicate the melody. So it's a fairly straightforward melody notation, just so we can focus on the notes themselves. I've also included tab because the frets, the numbers show you where to play the notes on the fretboard. So part of the value of what I've provided is that you don't have to try to figure out, if you just look at the music notation, where does this guy play the chords, and it takes a long time to figure out the best place to play some of these arrangements when you just have the notation. So I don't want you to just look at the tab and not understand what's going on, but the tab shows you the fret so that you can see where I physically played it on the fretboard. The diagram above is great because if you just play the chord, so in the Satin Doll arrangement there's a D minor 7. The highest note automatically is the melody note. So that was a pretty cool thing to discover, that in the past when I just played chords, I just played them because that was what the song said, to play the chord. But now I'm thinking, what is the highest note of that chord, and finding the chord that I want that has that melody note at the top. So if you look at the first D minor 7 of Satin Doll here, you can see the chord diagram has a marker at the 10th fret, so the 10 is beside the fret there. So that's a chord diagram, and vertically are the strings, horizontally are the frets. So the X's mean don't play those two strings. So you're not going to play the 5th string or the high E string, the 1st string. You'll also see numbers at the bottom of the chord diagram, the 1, 1, 1, 1. That means use your first finger, so that would mean just using a bar. In some cases you might find that a certain finger is better for you, but you have to realize that some of the way I've fingered these are because I want to be able to play the other melody notes. So as long as you can play the other melody notes and let the chord ring, then you're free to make some adjustments. But these are the ones I use, and hopefully you can start at least with these, and you should be able to do these fairly easily. So if you see an X on, say, the A string on the D minor, that means you're not playing that string. So using your fingers, you thumb the 6th string, and then the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string are played with your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd finger. So you naturally don't even play the 5th string. If you were to try to use a pick, like if I grab a pick here, I used to, because I played a lot of picking music, like rock music with pick, I never used really just my fingers. I started to do this with a pick and then my 3. So I pick the bottom string, and then I'd use my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger, like that. Some people use all a pick. You have to kind of fret the chord so that you don't play that string. You have to mute it. But I find that generally now using a pick makes it a bit more difficult for me. So I'm just using my fingers. It gives me that freedom. There's other combinations of the strings that make it really difficult to do with a pick and fingers. So I highly suggest, if you're used to using a pick, that you just try using your fingers, and don't get too stressed out about it. Just try to try to use them and it'll become more comfortable over time. So just to summarize, I was really frustrated with all the chord melodies out there being way too complicated. So I just came up with these simple chord melodies that are fun to play, will get you playing a song from beginning to end, and the notation, the way I put the chord grid with the melody, very simple, so that you don't have to worry about a lot of reading and stuff. And you play the chords the way I show them on the chord grid, and you're basically playing the chord melody. There's some extra notes added to the chord that you play while the chord is ringing, but those basic chords give you the structure of the song. So all you have to do is play these chords, and you're close to playing the whole melody.